Hey, good morning. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for joining us. Our number 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, we love hearing from our Bright Side listeners. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be speaking to Dylan Suggs. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about his podcast, Matrix Breakers. Dylan says the Matrix is real and it conquers mind, body, and spirit of the masses. We'll be talking about vaccine awareness and current events and the capital M Matrix with Dylan Suggs, host of the Matrix Breakers podcast. At the bottom of the hour, we'll get your calls in our next segment, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the websites as well, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 if you want to speak to a real live person, 866-735-2470. Our number today, 844-236-6010. We'll get your calls in our next segment. I want to continue talking about pigmentation. Pigmentation, as we said yesterday, is a manifestation of the stress response. Typically, that stress response is triggered by the sun, ultraviolet radiation, when we're young and healthy, when our hormones are out of balance. Melanin oxidation, the darkening of melanin, can also be out of balance. Thus, pigmentation does not always occur in response to the sun. Sometimes it occurs in response to stresses. Sometimes it occurs in response to wounding. Pigmentation is a mechanism that the body, specifically the skin, has evolved to deal with what has, through human evolution, been a primary stressor, been the primary stressor, and, for that matter, the primary wounding agent, and that is the sun. Ultraviolet radiation that emanates from the sun has historically, at least evolutionarily speaking, been the primary stressor that the human body has had to deal with. So it makes perfect sense that the body's stress management system would be involved with pigmentation. The hormone system that activates melanin is linked to the body's stress system, the sympathetic nervous system. That means that chronic repeated hyperpigmentation, i.e. melasma, i.e. dark spots, is a stress response. The hyperpigmentation response is a stress response. On the other hand, over time, chronic stress can cause a reduction in melanin via permanent depletion of melanin stem cells. They're called melanocytic stem cells, and it's thought this is the cause of graying hair. Over time, chronic stress will cause a reduction in pigment. Initially, stress will cause an increase in pigment. Over time, chronic stress will cause a reduction in pigment. Interestingly, the hormone system that activates pigmentation is called the melanocortin system. You can hear it right in the name. Melano meaning melanocyte, cortin or melanin, cortin meaning cortisol. The hormone system is actually called the melanocortin system. Thus the link, right in the name, the link between melanin, pigmentation, and cortisol. The melanocortin system is made up of hormones, and the hormones that turn on this response are called the melanocortins. And the melanocortins have been implicated in many stress-induced anxiety disorder. The pigmentation process is intimately connected with the stress response via this melanocortin system. The hormones are called melanocortins, and they're part of all kinds of stress manifestations, including anxiety disorder. When laboratory animals are administered the melanocortins, when they're injected with the melanocortins, they have reduced social interactions and also increases in aggressive behavior. They become sociopathic. Injections of the melanocortins in laboratory animals induces various stress responses, including stretching behavior, yawning behavior, excessive grooming. All of these are signs of increased stress, and that's what happens when a rat or a mouse or other laboratory animal is injected with these melanocortins, melanin and cortisol. The melanocortins are also anti-inflammatory, which is another indication of stress chemistry. And the melanocortins have an appetite suppressant effect, actually another sign of stress biochemistry. In fact, the melanocortin system is being researched by drug companies as a potential target for anti-obesity drugs. It's known that the fat cells of obese people make more melanin than those of non-obese people, perhaps as a mechanism for reducing inflammation, as a mechanism for reducing the stress response. Remember, melanin has an ability to dampen energy, to suck up energy, to mop up energy. As far as the skin goes, MSH, melanocyte-stimulating hormone, comes from the melanocortins, and when you upregulate melanocyte-stimulating hormone, you ultimately get more pigment-making cells, presumably then more pigment. All of this is to say that there is a lot more to hyperpigmentation. There's a lot more to the condition called melasma than just plain sun exposure. People think, oh, I got dark spots, I'm hyperpigmenting, I must be out in the sun too much. I better go get my sunscreen. Or if you have melasma or you have hyperpigmentation, typically we go to the dermatologist. Typically we get hydroquinone. Or if we don't go to the dermatologist, we'll use skin lightening creams or skin lightening ingredients. We're going to spend some time in the coming days talking about skin lightening ingredients. There's many of them. Hydroquinone is the gold standard, but there's a lot of them. The point I'm trying to make here is hyperpigmentation. No surprise, really. All skin conditions come from the inside, and hyperpigmentation comes from the inside as well. Melasma comes from the inside as well. It's built into the biochemistry. And our lack of understanding of biochemistry is what leads us to become frustrated and to just run to the dermatologist to try to figure out how we're going to get, or the esthetician for that matter, to figure out how we're going to address our hyperpigmentation. Blotchy skin is one of the biggest complaints that women and some men have about their skin. While the most important strategies for dealing with hyperpigmentation, also known as melasma, is to work internally, there are definitely topical things you can do to lighten your skin. The gold standard, of course, is hydroquinone, toxic as it may be. It does work. If you don't want to use hydroquinone, there's alternatives. Uva ursi, we talked about. Bearberry. Uva means berry. Ursi means bear. Uva ursi is an herb that you can pick or you can buy on the internet. You can get uva ursi tea. You can make your own skin lightener. Arbutin contains hydroquinone. Arbutin is super expensive. Arbutin-containing creams are ridiculously overpriced. And they're typically only contain a tiny little pinch of arbutin, which itself only contains a tiny little pinch of hydroquinone. There's other ingredients that you could use that are as effective as hydroquinone without the toxicity. And my favorite non-hydroquinone skin lightener is retinoic acid, which is available by a prescription. Or if you don't want to deal with having to go get a prescription, you can use retinoic acid's over-the-counter version, which is retinol. Now, if you've been listening to this program for any length of time, you know I am a big fan of retinol. One of the big 4 topical skincare ingredients everybody needs for keeping the skin healthy, beautiful, and anti-age, as well as keeping the complexion clear and helping reduce hyperpigmentation. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls when we come back from our break. Dylan Suggs, host of Matrix Breakers, will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be talking to Dylan Suggs, host of the Matrix Breakers podcast at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world today, politically speaking, with Dylan Suggs. And we'll get your calls here momentarily, 844-236-6010. If you're on hold, hang tight, 844-236-6010. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, we love hearing from you on the bright side. Let's see. I was going to read a cool letter that I got here. Let me see if I can find that. I think I'm going to hold off on this. I'm going to read this real quick. This is from Danielle. She says, I found your podcast by recommendation by a friend who swears by it. My problem is a little more complicated, so I thought I'd get some advice or your opinion from you via email. I had surgery on both legs last July 2020 after doing 30-plus weeks of wound care and losing my insurance. I was unable to afford everything. The surgery wounds were very deep, and I finally resorted to just using what I could purchase over the counter, and I got the tissue to fill in. The problem is I still have one spot on each leg that will not completely heal. All right, so here's the deal. Pre-surgery and post-surgery. Obviously, scarring and fibrosis and problems with the healing process can occur. In fact, it's estimated that some 80 to 90% of folks who have surgery deal with fibrosis. We're talking about hyperpigmentation, which can also occur topically. The key to getting good results from a surgery is pre-treatment with nutrition. And there's wonderful nutrients that you could use topically. Now, collagen building supplements are probably the most important. You can use our collagen recovery complex, which I haven't talked about for a while. Anything that helps you with arthritis is going to help accelerate the healing process post-surgery. But you always want to dose yourself. You always want to start taking your supplements pre-surgery. 3 and 4 weeks, because it's 3 or 4 weeks before surgery, because as soon as the scalpel hits the skin, the healing process begins. So you want your body loaded up with nutrients pre-treatment. Collagen-building nutrients, collagen peptides, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C is a must-have. If you want just one supplement that has everything, get our collagen recovery complex from truthtreatments.com. You can also use arthritis supplements, as I said. And then another very important supplement that you can use is vitamin K. Vitamin K is important for the blood clotting process, and then also for reducing bruising. And speaking of reducing bruising, digestive enzymes, particularly from pineapple and papaya, bromelain, and papain, are must-haves pre-surgery and continuing post-surgery as well. So arthritis supplements, collagen-building supplements, our collagen recovery complex, vitamin K, as well as digestive enzymes are must-haves to improve the prognosis of your surgery, to reduce scarring, scar tissue, and fibrosis, and to speed up the healing process. Pre-surgery, 2 to 4 weeks. Post-surgery, 2 to 4 weeks, but ideally just continuing on indefinitely. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Let's go to our friend Carl, the Truth Raider. What's up, Carl? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing there in Boulder, Colorado?
We're doing good. I heard. Hey, let me ask you if this is true. I know you're out there in Oregon. Is there like a permanent mask thing now? It's like never ending. Is that what I heard?
That's what some radio host had thought theoretically on the conspiracy level, that it's going to be forever.
It's not, but it's not definitely. It's not definitely.
Not announced here yet. They're reserving that for a later time if that's going to be pronounced. But yes, I wanted to find out what's going on in your area as far as you've heard of statistically in the past year. And do you know of people that have come down with this illness left and right?
Oh, I know people who have come down with it, definitely, but nobody who's had anything serious. It's been like a little flu. And, the worst story that I heard personally that I know about is somebody who was just sick for 7 or 8 days and got over it. Apparently there's something going on, something going around. But whether it's big enough and serious enough that we got to shut the planet down and put people out of work and shut down businesses and force people to wear masks and get vaccinated, I'm not convinced of that, as you know.
Well, hey, there is an insider that decided to blow the whistle a little bit about this. This is a clinical lab scientist. His name is Derek Naus. Knauss.
Okay.
Anybody can look him up if they want to. Go to the Google search engine and type in Derek Naus.
Okay. What's he saying? Scientist. What is he saying?
COVID-19 is fake. Wake up, America.
What does he mean by fake? That I hear that. Wake up, America is always a good idea, right? I mean, we seem to be sleepwalking through our lives, and more than sleepwalking, in a hypnotic trance that somebody's inducing through media and culture and the constant drumbeat of messaging, consistent messaging. So, but what does he mean by fake? Because I think there's something. It seems like there's something happening. It's just a question of whether it's serious enough that we've got to do. I was just reading in Fiji, they had one case, an infection, and they put everybody in lockdown from one case in Fiji. Now, Fiji's obviously a small country, but that's the kind of the thinking that's taking place. And our friends in the UK are dealing with these lockdowns. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is what's truly going on, Ben.
Yeah.
It's radiation sickness.
From what? From 5G?
Due to all the technology that we have all around us.
That's what Dr. Thomas Cowan. That's what Dr. Thomas Cowan says. I don't know if you've heard him. I love his work, but he says that it has to do with electromagnetics. He actually has in his book, The Contagion Myth, which is an awesome book, by the way. He talks about epidemics being associated with new technologies like radio, the 1918 Spanish flu and radar. There was a pandemic after World War II. There was a pandemic, and he associates this one in particular with, I can't even say what it is because they censor you if you say what it is, but with the new electromagnetic energy that's being put out in the environment. Carl, I want to get a couple more calls. Is that okay? I appreciate your call very much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Look at that article.
I will. Yeah. Derek Nouse, thank you. All right, let's see who we got here. Let's go to Dorian real quick. What's up, Dorian? How you doing, man? We got about a minute and a half.
Doing great. I have a customer with some light graying and a few wrinkles, and she's a little paranoid about that.
How old is she?
She's 65.
And she has some light wrinkles? She's doing great.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? She's doing awesome. Get her on the Healthy Start Pack. And have her use get her some retinol. Go to tell her to go to truthtreatments.com and get our transdermal C serum. Get some retinol. Start off with retinol 1%. Make sure she's on the Healthy Start Pack and start building up that connective tissue. Remember, I don't know if you heard me talking about healing, post-surgical healing and pre-surgical preload and post-surgical healing. Those same supplements will help you build connective tissue in your face to minimize or reduce or even eliminate wrinkles. And that would be things like collagen peptides, glucosamine, vitamin C. You can get our collagen recovery complex off truthtreatments.com. Our collagen recovery complex is made with things like copper and zinc, which are very important for collagen building, hyaluronic acid, which is important for connective tissue building, eggshell membrane. You know, the membrane that is between the egg and the shell, eggshell membrane, it kind of lines the eggshell, is a really good source of connective tissue building substances, including hyaluronic acid. So if you make hard-boiled eggs, you can kind of peel that membrane off of the egg or from the inside part of the shell, and if you collect up that membrane, you can dry it out and crush it up and turn it into capsules. It makes a great anti-aging supplement, not just for the skin, but for connective tissue throughout the body. All right, Durham, I got to go, buddy. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. I'm pharmacist Ben Dylan Suggs, host of Matrix Breakers. The podcast will be with us next. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay, we're back on The Bright Side. I'm pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. You'll find longevity products at brightsideben.com, also pharmacistben.com and criticalhealthnews.com. We've got news stories, blog posts, lots of good health information, all free at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. And also, don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want, just 100% active and functional ingredients. You use 1 or 2 drops of our Truth Transdermal C Serum. Our Perfect Dose spoon is all you need to dispense your omega-6 healing cream and your Truth Transdermal C Balm. All our Truth Skin Health products last a really, really long time, sometimes up to a year, sometimes over a year in the case of our Truth Transdermal C Balm. Even our retinol will last you over a year, sometimes a year and a half. You can find all our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com and our 1,800 4- and 5-star reviews, which come in every day. 4- and 5-star reviews come in every day via our review service. You can check them all out at Truth Reviewed with a D, truthreviewed.com, truthtreatments.com to purchase our Truth Skin Health products. All right, I'm looking forward to speaking to our guest today. He's the host of the Matrix Breakers podcasts. He says, going into this year is going to require many of us to come together. We as a collective have the power to create anything we want. This is why the global powers in the world strive to control the minds of the masses. It's our weapon against them just as much as it's our weapon against us. It's their weapon against us. By utilizing it wisely, we can do anything, change anything, and create anything, unquote. Please welcome to the bright side, the very prescient young Dylan Suggs. What's up, Dylan?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. And thank you for doing what you're doing, motivating to do what you do. It's really cool. Matrix Breakers is very enlightening. I've been listening to it. So right off the bat, let me ask you this. What the heck is this thing that we hear all the time called the Matrix?
Well, and my description of it, there's a physical, a spiritual, a financial, and political matrix that we all have to fight. And there's a multi-front war happening on behalf of all of humanity. So I decided to, cover every single aspect of it. Not that I'm an expert in each one, but to be able to understand that we are being assaulted in every single way. And of course, the Matrix movie, 1999, covers this perfectly in a sense of having an AI take over and then having humans as batteries to power their system and then to live in a simulated world. But I just think that simulation may be created through these different avenues, and so it's very important for people to understand it so that we can fight against it and then create a world of our own, maybe even build our own Matrix.
What is the Matrix, though? Define it. What is exactly the Matrix, as in terms of a definition?
The Matrix is just it is the simulation or the program that we all exist in on behalf spiritually, physically, financially, and politically. It's the very system we exist in. So
it's a system. It's a system. In other words. All right. So when by definition, Matrix is a medical term, and like in your body, you have a matrix, the extracellular matrix they call it, or the ECM.
Right.
Literally, the word matrix means womb, as in a birthplace. Right? Mm-hmm. As in that's what something comes out of. So how do you see this thing that you're talking about, this matrix system, in light of the fact that the definition of matrix is as a birthplace?
Well, I think that taken from the cultural icon movie, The Matrix, the movie, I took that brand for what it was in that movie, which was a sort of a controlling system, and
like
the idea that we live in that matrix. Yeah, the matrix, right? Because that's what culturally, you're right. The real definition of it is what you just said, the womb. But I think culturally speaking, because there are urban dictionary definitions of things. If you look up the Urban Dictionary definition of it, it would be considered something like that, system of control, and then that can be off of any topic or any area of our lives.
Okay, so the title of your podcast is Matrix Breaking. So what does breaking mean?
Well, we take those control systems that exist in the world, and then we break through them. We in the podcast, I just expose and clarify some of the most current events, and then on the behalf of topics. At a wide range of topics. So we just break the matrix. We're like, okay, so you live here, you think this way about this issue or this particular topic. Well, let's actually dive into that topic. Very similar to what you do, Ben, about the body. That's, I would consider the health matrix, where we got to break that matrix. The people have an understanding about the body that is untrue. In many cases, it's half truths. And so we have to break that matrix, and that's what you do every day. You're a matrix breaker by, exposing what's happening, not just in the medical system, but really helping people clarify the body, the understanding of it, so that we're empowered. Because that's the whole concept of it, is we want to empower people to let them know that they can learn the truth about something and then, live their lives in that truth.
Where does information and education fit into the equation?
It is the most crucial part. I think the podcast is, it is a lot of philosophy, but it's important because we all know we live in a Rockefeller education world, so we are all programmed right now in the system that exists today in the education, the academia. And there's a lot of pseudo-intellectuals out there who learn information, but it's building a system that could be the entire system itself. It could be fallacy. The whole thing could be a fallacy. And so, being educated, there is the idea, I think, of just self-education, whether it's life experience or just learning from other people's experiences and then having just an open mind. I think that's real education, and so we have to build on that.
How do you see the stuff that's going on in the world today? And we got to be careful for saying things because there's these algorithms and bots out there that do censoring. Yeah. So how do you see the stuff that's going on today is it part of the matrix or is it part of the breaking? Or is it both?
There's a mix. Okay, It's both, because you have the matrix. Look at this PR rollout with COVID and with everything going on. I think that the political matrix that exists, just for one example, has now infringed upon our lives. It is literally on our face with a mask. So we see that this constriction of the matrix is desperate. You can see the desperation in the media, the desperation in these systems of control to try to continue their control. But then you have these people waking up, so these people who exist in the matrix, those people are victims. They are not our enemy. So when you are debating people or attacking somebody or someone's attacking you, just remember that these people are victims of propaganda. They are victims of the matrix. Fighting them, they're not your enemy. As Morpheus famously says, these are programmed. They're programmed to think a certain way, and you have to help wake them up. We have to give them the red pill So it's this blue pill, red pill mentality. And frankly, a lot of people take that blue pill and they want to just, believe everything.
They like the steak. That delicious steak.
Exactly.
I know it's not real, but it is delicious. Yeah, that's did correct. You know when you saw? I imagine you must have seen The Matrix several times. When you saw it, you were already. It had already been out for a while. I'm thinking. So did it change? Like, did you have an epiphany when you saw it, or was it kind of a gradual wake up?
It was definitely, so it was an epiphany when I saw the movie. I thought that was a really interesting look on the future, maybe AI taking over and stuff like that. And it's funny because, in Hollywood, as we know, there are directors and producers that work with people that work with, I would say that the control figures of the world are mad scientists, right? So we look at that.
Technocracy. The world's a technocracy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hold on to that thought when we come back from a break. I want to ask you a little bit more about the movie, and then we'll talk about your podcast and some of the guests you've had. So you have some really cool topics on the podcast. The podcast is Matrix Breakers. We've got Dylan Suggs with us. More with Dylan Suggs on the bright side right after this. We are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Dylan Suggs, host of Matrix Breakers, the podcast, a society and culture podcast. How old were you when you woke up? And by the way, there's a difference between taking the red pill and waking up and being woke. You guys, I hear this term all the time, being woke, and that's not the same thing, right? Right? Those are different.
Not at all. Woke is the Matrix system's creation of red pill. Yeah. Their own form of red pill.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. They've kind of co-opted the red pill by being woke. You're woke. That whole thing, right? That's very interesting. So, how old were you when you took the red pill?
I would definitely say when I was 19 and I got into the network marketing, direct selling space. When I woke up to the free market, capitalism, and that there was this idea, concept that you could start a business for under $1,000 and exponentially grow a business, and then to learn that it was attacked by John Oliver and the media and the internet called it a pyramid scheme. That's when I woke up thinking, well, wait, this is a total legitimate business. This is a total legitimate. I'm making money from this. This is not. Somebody famously told me I red pilled this whenever somebody said, hey, this is all a scam. You're never going to make any money. And I said, I've already made money. And it was this moment in time where I'm like, well, wait, why would this person believe that? But it's not true. And that kind of woke me up. And I think that the network marketing, business, capitalist, entrepreneurial venture, that model woke me up more than anything else. And then after that, I started to question more things, and like, hey, what else is out there that's supposed to be, legit but isn't?
Was this Youngevity?
This wasn't Youngevity. It was a different company, but the Youngevity was my next company right after that. Mm-hmm.
What was the first company you did?
It was a small company called Alteria International. They have the Neon energy drink, and Neon now is with Vistalis. So the company was small, and it got sold over to Vistalis, a large company.
But you started making money right away with network marketing, multi-level marketing.
I was 19. I was young. I built a business with a brand new company, and I just thought I was totally the coolest person ever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what do you say to people when they kind of are cynical or skeptical about Youngevity?
Oh, about Youngevity, it's funny because I just explain Youngevity as the Amazon of wellness. Disregard all the derogatory things about Amazon. But I just think that Youngevity and the network marketing model is a beautiful model, and you need to know the industry you're in. So I like to clarify to people what is network marketing. Instead of just focusing purely on Youngevity as a company, I like to introduce the model. And this is the 30,000-foot view I use in my podcast. I go with large-scale thinking, broad thinking, saying, hey, look, let's look at this entire industry. Let's look at what's bad. Let's look at what's good. And let's really find the truth. And then when I define network marketing in the proper way, the 1930s, California Vitamins history, Amway, the whole system, the lawsuit, 1976, all of these amazing things that happened to birth the network marketing industry, I explain why it's hated, why it's being attacked. Then people come to that understanding and they say, holy crap, I need to get involved in network marketing. If this is that legit, this is something great. Then I introduce Youngevity as the best network marketing company, hands down, and I know it because I've just been involved in so many. But there are great companies out there. But I love the industry, so that's how I look at it.
I love it too. I'm right on board with you. Would you say you have a successful Youngevity business?
I would say definitely, yeah. I'm so happy in Youngevity. Mm-hmm.
What's the secret? one secret? There's probably a few, but what's one secret that you can give people? Because I know a lot of people are struggling. They don't believe it, or they've been trying and they can't make it. And so what's one secret that from coming at it from a successful entrepreneurial perspective, which you've been successful in the network marketing business, coming from that, what do you say? What's your one secret? What's your best secret?
Definitely relationships. Get on the phone with people, everybody. I can make a podcast and reach thousands of people, but I love that one phone call with one person. That's more significant to me, and it's more significant for them. I have podcast listeners that found me through their podcast, and now we're best friends, because I reached out. I privately messaged them. I said, let's get on the phone. I want relationships. And so in a business model like Longevity, we are built on relationships. So spend more time calling people and getting on the phone with people. And in this day and age, I would say go sit down with someone, especially, during this COVID crisis, this entire, social distancing mindset. We need to get together. And I would say that is the secret, is just build relationships and do it large scale, do it small scale, do it in every scale you can. That's the best way to build your longevity business.
That's awesome. That's awesome advice. All right, so I want to talk about the podcast real quick. The latest program, you had a topic. I hate to say the word because we get censored every time I say it, but it starts with a V, awareness.
Yeah.
So what?
So today,
tell us about that.
I was doing a podcast about the V word because tonight I'm actually hosting an event that's called a Healing Arts Workshop, and I am a part of my part in this Healing Arts Workshop this month will be talking about the V word and explaining to people what's really the truth behind it. So we're going to get into the facts, right? And those are really
Is this in Boulder?
In a world we live in. This is here in Boulder, Longmont area.
Awesome.
Hey, if you want to
give it a plug. Give it a plug. Give it a plug for anybody who's in the area.
Yeah. So it's a Healing Arts event. It is my home, so you might want to have to reach out to me. You can find me DYLONSUGGS at Instagram or Facebook. Reach out to me privately. I can send it to you, the flyer. So we got a nice flyer. But the podcast was me briefing a little bit about, the 1986 Reagan, the act, the Childhood Vaccine Act. We're going to talk about that, the liability protection these companies have, and just kind of looking directly at the COVID-19 rollout. We look at the simulation, the programs out of Johns Hopkins University, how this entire thing was simulated in 2017, later in 2019. And, we just look at, are we living in this legit, wild virus that came out of nowhere and just totally took over the world and shut down the world economy? Or do we exist in a world where maybe there's a controlled environment being developed here, and maybe this vaccine is a part of this end goal that they're trying to create? So we're going to look at all of that tonight.
Yeah, maybe, right? So now you're a young blood. I don't think you're 30 yet, right? You're like in your 20s? So,
yeah, 26.
26. So what is the take amongst young people? If you can, I don't want you to be like representative of an entire generation,
totally.
But is there a general take amongst young folks about what's going on? Do kids smell a rat, or are they bought in for the most part, one way or the other?
I think that a lot of younger people are, you would say they're woke. They're trying to be. They're waking up. They realize that they don't trust the government. They don't trust the institutions of power. They don't trust, but they don't know the entire truth. So some of them are going down, they think aliens are running the whole thing, or they really believe everything on mainstream media, and they're kind of fighting, where they're like this. They're so involved, I think, in the matrix, whether it's the climate change model or, wear your mask or whatever it is. They might be so into the matrix that they think they're fighting against the system. And what we really know is that they are actually a part of the system. And the system works very, very hard, spends millions, if not billions, to influence the young people of the world, right? Look at the way that just all of this stuff being invested into. We can tell they're scared because they want to influence the millennials and the younger people. So I think that some people don't buy it. I think a lot of people don't even pay attention. They're so distracted, and that's what they bet on. They're gambling on people's distraction from what's really going on. They're gambling that you watch the Super Bowl. They're gambling that you continue to watch the NBA, even though no one gets to show up to the games anymore. There's such a, they want you distracted. So I think the millennials are either very distracted and entertained, just like Caesar said, bread and circus,
Right.
So they're either very entertained or they are questioning their reality, trying to wake up and creating businesses, and they're coaching and they're waking other people up. I think that it's a really positive thing. And I think that even the business world today, especially, is waking people up, and a lot of young people, they are starting to think, hey, maybe I should make money. Look at crypto and Bitcoin and all of these amazing things. I think that's a lot of awakening happening. So you can pick your awakening, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's this vaccine rollout or whether it's COVID. I mean, just pick which route you want to go. Eventually, you open up the entire you go down the rabbit hole and you start to find out more, right, about the institutions of power and their control.
Have you read any books that that you would consider to be inspiring or awakening, if you will?
Okay, so one of my favorite books that does a good job with, I think, summarizing a lot of the kind of the institutions of power that exist. Two of them, it's a series. One of them is called The Killing of Uncle Sam by Rodney Howard-Browne. He's a pastor. And he's also working with a ex-CIA agent, and they just go into an expose on America, the history, what happened, the Rockefeller.
The Killing of Uncle Sam. And what's the other one?
Uncle Sam. And then the second part to the series is Killing the Planet, explaining all of the other things that have been going on. This is all before COVID.
That's
I would
awesome.
say one of those two books are really great. So
I love that.
Outwitting the Devil.
Oh, yeah, Napoleon Hill. Right. Hey, that's all the time we have. I'm sorry, Dylan. You're very interesting, and you're doing some really wonderful work. Thank you so much for doing it. How do people listen to Matrix Breakers? Just off regular podcast
Anywhere,
platforms?
Apple, Spotify, and just type in Matrix Breakers. I appreciate you. Hope to join you again soon.
Thanks, Dylan. Have a beautiful day. That was Dylan Suggs, his host, his podcast, Matrix Breakers. And that's all the time we have for today on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.